built a brand new raised garden bed this weekend, and I'm setting up a new drip irrigation system in it. So I thought I would just go live and let you all join me. If you have any questions or anything during the live stream, just put them in the chat and I'll try to see if I can get to some of those. But I'm just going to walk through this and kind of explain what I'm working on and how I'm doing it while I'm doing it out here in the garden. So the first thing I'm going to show you is, if I can get the camera where you can see. So this right here is my irrigation line. It's coming up into my garden from my existing garden that I had here before. So I have the irrigation line is coming up, and if you see here on the ground, it's buried underground here, and then it comes up inside the garden over here. So there's no hose draped over the side, so it makes it really nice and neat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect this one line, and I'm going to run 2 lines down the length of the garden here so that I can connect it to all my plants when I start planting those. So get this repositioned where you can see what I'm working on. I think that'll be okay right here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I got my helper here. He helped me this weekend get this all built, so that was really helpful. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to cut it just above the existing soil so that I won't worry about getting dirt and stuff into the line, and I have a little bit extra so it can go in above mulch if I want, or I have room to work with it if needed. So I don't want to cut it right to the ground because I won't be able to make any adjustments later on. So I got my handy cutting tool, and I'm just going to cut it off. And then next I'm going to install one of these T's, and this is going to allow me to split it to run down each side. And the reason I'm running it down both sides and not just one straight down the middle is because this is 4 feet wide, and if I need to make a repair of the drip line that's in the middle, it's going to be a little bit harder to reach in and put the connectors and stuff. So I'm going to put one down each side. That way I can work on it a little easier if needed. So this connector is the kind that have the little screw piece. These are the universal ones that work on any size tubing that you're using, the 1/2 inch or the 5/8 inch. So these are the ones that I like to use because I don't have to worry about what size tubing I have. So I'm going to install it first. Get this out of the way. First to this tubing that I have coming up out of the ground. Next, I'm going to install a short piece of tubing to go sideways just across the side here. Tubing. And place it on here. And it came out earlier while the sun was out and it was really hot, and I put the tubing out in the sunlight so it would get warm and straightened it out. I ran it all the way across my garden. That way it would be really easy to work with now. You can see it's still bending. Well, you can't see actually, but let's see if I can show you. You can see it's bending a little bit, but it's a lot easier to work with than if it was all coiled up still. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this here. And then I have some stakes somewhere. Can you run inside and get the metal stakes? They're probably on the kitchen table. Next, I'm going to install an elbow down here at this end. This is going to make the corner so that I can run down the length of my garden. These connectors are definitely a lot easier to use than the ones that are just compression fittings. These go on a lot easier, and they're easier to remove too if you need to. So I definitely recommend using these the screw-on type universal ones. And then next I'm going to install the long piece that's going to run down the length of my garden. Just pressing it on and screw it down tight. So now before I go to the other end, Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this side before I switch. So I'm gonna leave this just sitting here like this. I'll give you a view of what it kind of looks like here. See if I can switch this. I know there's a way. Yep. Okay, so I installed, let me come around this way. So I installed the T from the piece coming up out of the soil, and then I installed an elbow over there. And now we're gonna move down to the other end, and I'm gonna trim it up and get it ready. This, can you grab that? Go down here to this end. Again, if you guys have any questions or anything, you can just go ahead and drop them in the chat, and if I see them pop up, I will try to get to them. No promises or guarantees, but I will do my best. I'm gonna set this up here real quick so you can see what I'm doing on this side. We're doing here. Okay, can you see this? You can almost see it. All right, so this side, I'm just gonna measure this out. I'm gonna make sure I leave a little bit of extra slack in it, and then I'm just gonna cut it off down here. And then in my handy dandy drip irrigation case, I have these, and I'm just using these closing connectors, and these are really easy. You just slip it over. I don't think it matters which way it goes. You just, whoops, it slipped up. Slip it over, and then you're going to kink the hose over, and you're gonna slip it back through the other direction. And that keeps the end closed so that no water comes out when you're running the system. So we're gonna set this here, and I'm gonna run back and do the other end again real quick. Let's leave this here. Let's take this with me. So this is my brand new raised garden bed, and there will be a video coming out on this probably next week. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in how I built it and the whole process. But right now, we're just gonna get the drip irrigation set up. So he brought out these stakes, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of these in real quick. And if you're joining me, say hi there in the chat so I know you're watching, and let me know where you're watching from and what you're working on in the garden this weekend. I spent my weekend building this raised bed, so that was pretty much all I've accomplished. But it looks really nice, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So. All right, so I'm gonna use some of these little, these are just metal stakes, and this will hold this in place in the corner where I just put that one in. And then I'll have my helper go put one down at the other end where we just were. So I'm gonna begin working over here. I have my tubing. So again, for this side, I'm gonna do the same thing as I did over here. I'm just gonna make a piece to go across to the edge. And I'm going to install it here. And then next, we're gonna put the elbow on this side over here. It's been a really nice weekend for doing gardening, so I hope you all accomplished what you were trying to accomplish in your gardens this weekend. It's been really nice here. I'm in the Southern California high desert, so it hasn't been too hot yet this time of year. Mid-80s today, so it was actually really nice. And then, watch out, buddy. So now I'm going to hook this up to run down the length. And my helper is going to go down there and pull it for me and get it nice and straight. This piece is going to get tightened up. Getting awfully breezy, so I hope you all can hear me okay. I'm going to put a stake right here just to hold this in the corner. This soil is really soft, so it's going to kind of be hard to stake it down anyway, because this is all brand new soil. But that'll have to work for now. And then let's go back down to the other end, and we'll set that other piece up. I'll try to show you as I walk down. You can kind of see what the raised bed looks like. come down here to this end again. See if I've set it here. That'll work. That'll do. All right, so now I'm just going to close this end up. And again, I'm just using one of these little 2-hole connectors. Put one over. And then you just kink the hose and slip it back through the other way. And it's nice and sealed. Easy. Actually, I needed to trim this one, so I'm actually going to take this back off and trim it just a little bit. It's a little too long. So that's one of the nice things with this drip irrigation tubing is it's really forgiving. You can kind of just do what you need to do with it, and if it's too long or too short, you can cut a new piece or you can add a piece or trim it down, whatever you need to do. So I'm going to trim this down probably about to here. I needed that piece though. In. Put it back through this way again. And that's it. And as this tubing, as you can see, it's still kind of moving around doing whatever it wants to do. But as it sits in the sun for a couple of days, it's going to get really like relaxed, and I'm going to be able to place it wherever I want, and it's not going to like try to coil back up or move around weird. So after a couple of days, it's going to be really nice and easy to work with. So that's all I had to do. It's only been 10 minutes and I've got all the large line installed into my garden. I'm gonna go ahead and show you real quick how we would connect a 1/4-inch tubing to it to put a dripper to a plant. I don't have all my plants in yet, obviously, so I'm not gonna do them all here on the live stream, but I'm gonna work on planting all my plants tonight so that I can get some more videos out to you guys next week. So I'll show you that really quick and then see if there was any questions or anything, and then we'll go from there. So let's move back down to this side. Can you grab all that stuff, bud? So I'm gonna just set up right here. It'll probably work. Yep, that's good. All right. So what I'm gonna use is I have my hole punch tool. I got my 1/4-inch tubing. I've got the cutter and all my little parts. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to poke a hole right here. I'm going to have plants all along here, so I know I'm going to need one here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pretend it's here already. I'm going to poke a hole. I'm going to try not to get dirt in my tubing. And then I'm going to use one of these connectors. I actually like to put them onto this piece first. It's a little easier that way. So I'm going to just leave maybe a length about that long. Cut it. I'm going to put this connector, or these little straight 1/4-inch connectors. You probably can't see it on there. Just put that on. And then I'm just going to punch it right into this hole I just made. And then I'm going to put a drip emitter on the other end.
Is that like the that is like this?
Yes, sir. And then I'm going to use one of these little clips. My stuff's about to blow away. It's very windy here today. And then you would just place it near your plant. Or you can maybe see it a little bit better. So you'd put it near your plant to water your plants. That's pretty much it. Let me jump over here and grab the camera for a second. So that's pretty much it. It was easy to do. I hope that's helpful, and I thank you for joining me tonight. It's windy and it's going to start cooling down, so I'm going to get all my plants planted as quickly as I can and get the rest of these emitters hooked up and get to it. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a great night.